Imagine you wake up tomorrow and find out that 3 of your closest generals have just betrayed you. Your northern border is on fire. A plague has killed a third of your army. Your adopted son, the one person you trusted to carry your legacy, is turning out to be a monster. Now imagine you sit down and write this. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Not in a motivational poster, not in a TED Talk, in a private journal, written to himself, in Greek, at night, in a military tent. That man was Marcus Aurelius, philosopher, general, and emperor of Rome. And what he figured out about the human mind is something most therapy, most self-help, and most modern philosophy still hasn't caught up to. Here's the problem Marcus was actually solving, and it's not what most people think. He wasn't trying to feel happy. He wasn't chasing peace of mind as a goal. He was dealing with something more brutal, the gap between how things are and how we think they should be. He calls this the tyrant in your own head, the voice that says, this shouldn't be happening, this is unfair, this person shouldn't act this way. Sound familiar? Because in 2026, we have a different empire to manage our careers, our relationships, our phones, our feeds, but the tyrant is still the same. We're constantly at war with reality. We lose sleep over things we can't control. We catastrophize. We react instead of responding. Marcus was surrounded by chaos. What made him extraordinary wasn't that he eliminated chaos, it's that he developed a mental architecture that made chaos irrelevant. Here's the bridge. Ancient Rome's political instability and a modern person's doom scrolling at 2 a.m. are the exact same problem, a mind that refuses to accept what it cannot change. Marcus built his mental training on one foundation, Stoicism, but not the cold, robot version people imagine. Stoic thinking, in Marcus's hands, had 3 concrete tools. Tool Hashon, the dichotomy of control. Marcus drew a hard line between 2 categories, things within his control, his judgments, intentions, choices, and everything else. Everything outside that line, not his problem. Not a moral issue, just weather. He would literally ask himself each morning, is this in my control? If yes, act. If no, release. Modern equivalent, your boss yells at you. You can't control the yell, you can control your response. Marcus would say, the anger you feel isn't caused by the boss, it's caused by your judgment that the boss shouldn't yell. Change the judgment, the anger dissolves. Tool #2, negative visualization. This sounds dark, but it's actually liberating. Marcus would deliberately imagine bad outcomes before they happened, not to be pessimistic, but to be unshakeable. He writes, begin each morning by telling yourself, today I will meet people who are ungrateful, violent, treacherous, envious, uncharitable. Why? So when they appear, and they always do, you don't spiral. You already processed it. You already chose your response. Tool #3, the view from above. Marcus would zoom out mentally until his problems looked microscopic. He'd imagine himself looking down at Earth from space. Wars, empires, his own reputation, specks of dust. This wasn't nihilism, it was perspective calibration, reminding himself that urgency is often manufactured. Contrast with Aristotle, where Aristotle believed virtue led to happiness through external flourishing, good friendships, good luck, a good city. Marcus believed virtue was self-contained. You don't need the right circumstances to live well. You only need the right mind. This is the crucial difference. Aristotle gave you a roadmap. Marcus gave you a survival kit. Stoicism in Marcus's form has one real weakness. It undervalues relationships as a source of meaning. The framework is almost entirely interior. It's you versus your own mind, every single day. Marcus writes beautifully about community, but functionally, his system treats other people mostly as either obstacles or irrelevances. The failure mode? You can become emotionally armored in a way that looks like wisdom but is actually disconnection. You stop grieving. You stop needing. And somewhere in that process, you stop being fully human. Marcus himself probably suffered this. His private writing is magnificent, but it's also profoundly lonely. A man who trained himself to need nothing wrote 12 books of philosophy to himself in the dark. Stoicism doesn't handle grief well. It doesn't handle love well. and it has nothing to say about joy that isn't immediately hedged with "but don't get attached." Here's the one practice you can start today. It takes 4 minutes. Every morning, before you open your phone, write down 3 things. One thing that could go wrong today, and your response to it. One thing you're trying to control that you actually can't. One intention that is entirely within your power to execute. That's it. Marcus did this for decades. He called it his morning examination. He wasn't optimizing for happiness. He was building a mind that wouldn't break. The exercise doesn't make your problems disappear. It makes you larger than your problems. And here's the reframe that makes everything click. Marcus Aurelius didn't write the meditations because he had it figured out. He wrote them because he was still fighting. And he fought every single day in the most powerful position on earth with nothing but his own trained mind. The journal wasn't therapy, it was a weapon, and you can build one too.